Of course, welcome back to Indian Trace. It's going to be fun today. Take a look at some of this. I mean, what a setup, right? For those of you across the country who are not sure yet or are new to tune in, what you're looking at here, and if you've tuned into Indian Trace, you've heard the word before, these are Guilfords. Of course, I could rightly say one of my favorite styles of points that I find here in eastern North Carolina, and I don't really find them much bigger. These are big points, big atlatl tips. We're going to check out some of these, and they are just absolutely awesome. These are sort of a favorite 10 for today. I went out, I found some pottery and some artifacts, but I mean these are far and few between. I'm really actually having my own education when I go out and work at things. We haven't had much rain at all. But 10's here. I mean, when you want to say something looks really good, or, guys say, well, she's a 10. Well, listen, these are 10's. She's a 10. She's a 10. She's a 10. So look at this. I mean, that's just the bottom line. I mean, when you find an artifact like this, you just say, my goodness. Here you'd say that is a Guilford Yuma, and she is a 10. So I'm going to give you an up close and personal for some of these 10's. That's what we're going to check out. If I can only get my focus to work as fast as my brain does. Now, I do want to say this. I do give a shout out as we go around the circle here. This is one of the first Guilfords I found at the Cascade. Absolutely stellar. It's not really a straight bass, it's actually a Guilford Yuma. It's a stellar piece. Shout out today goes to Richard's Rock House. Now, believe it or not, Richard, if you do watch these, which I doubt because you're so flat out busy moving dirt, Richard moves more dirt than any human being I know. Flat out digging. And I mean, he also finds smokers. So two things are involved. He's moving dirt and he's finding smokers. And no one does it better. Recently, of course, I mean fairly recently, I mean it's been a long time since she was a girl. He calls her Super K. She's been digging. She's gonna fill his shoes and move dirt. Now, if they see this, they're probably gonna laugh and get a good kick out of it. That's a nice Guilford, isn't it? I mean, talk about a 10. 10's we're looking at here. So my shout out, and you check my subscriptions, is for Richard's Rock House. And it's because of the amount of dirt he moves. He's a digger. Now, he will find them on surface and does a good job of it, but talk about a worker. We'll just put it at that. Many of you know. Worth the shout out. And now, here's the investigation. I have gone back in time and seen just about all his videos. Now, for some of you who know, that's saying something because he probably has 1,500. But I needed to know where he was coming from. I needed to know what his dedication and devotion was to these, which are of the North American Indian. Here in North Carolina, I give you a good show of my favorite type of point. 10's. I guess today's favorite 10. I do it when it's slow and I'm not finding a lot out there. Absolutely incredible. This is the chunkiest piece I found right here, but it just really fits. And I'd say she's a 10 for sure. And anyway, for Richard's Rock House, definitely worth checking that channel out. Go back in time, check out. It'll blow your mind. Richard, if you listen to this, you'll find, and being out there and finding them as you have, as consistently as you have, I mean, you must smell them out. I can't imagine how you locate a productive dig site. It's just beyond me. I mean, I have sites where I find these awesome points, and I would love to dig there. And I could, but I just can't get the setup, and it is a serious amount of work compared to what I do. Now, I do a lot of work. A lot of you guys have seen a lot of great points come out. One of the earliest points I'm looking at here, as my brain jumps around, came from the Archaic. Archaic does put out some Guilfords, and I didn't even know what the world it was. I knew it was an ancient point. Brought it on home, and I mean, look at the relief on the back of this. Can you see where it starts right at my thumb right here? Awesome, right where they hafted it in, but you can really see it right there. You can see it right across here on a Guilford where that was hafted in. 10 10s. So check Richard's channel out. I double dog dare you, go back in time, take some time, do some regular anthropological study on the site. Listen to what he says. He did some teaching series, and if you see these, I hope you revisit and share some more of your knowledge about these artifacts and what you think about them. Really important stuff. Somebody else was doing a shout out, and partially the reason I'm doing my Guilfords again today is because somebody really wanted to see them, and I said, hey, that's easy. That's an easy button for me. Guilfords are about my favorite in the world. I mean, just look at these points. And at the same time, I don't see a lot of people across the country finding Guilfords. I'm not positive if they're just solely in South Carolina, North Carolina, what have you, but I'm gonna put them up there. And another Guilford Yuma here. They're old. I mean, they're a good 7,000 years old. It's unbelievable. Nice point right here. Was happy about that. I found that over at Crystal Beach. What else could I say about Richard's Rock House? He also sells a lot of them. You can get your hands on some of those authentic ones if you had the money to spend on the stuff. I actually do not buy, and I really don't sell. So it's just to each his own, and I think it's great, though, that he makes some of these artifacts available. Look at this piece. A Guilford Yuma from Saponi, which is almost home of the Guilford. They put out Guilfords there. Look at the relief on the back of this one. Can you imagine such a point? Just blowing my mind. So you can see, as the short 5 years that I've collected go by, how this kind of point has just stole my imagination. And it's almost like a Sedalia or an Etley when it comes to Richard's Rock House. My shout out for today. Now, moving forward, of course, I give a little bit of a comment. If you're interested in going forward and studying anything that has any political interest, see these artifacts. If you're not interested, as I've said time and time again, in politics, I don't know how you collect artifacts or are interested in the North American Indian. Maybe you just like the rocks. Hey, to each his own, That's the great thing about my party, in my political interest. We are well able to accept how people feel and what they believe. That's called freedom. And nevertheless, I do think, look at this piece. This is actually, this one right here, I'm sorry, came from the Falcon. This is the one I was thinking about, and it came from Crystal Beach, which I guess doesn't matter to you. Getting scatterbrained. Oh my gosh, these are good points. I know if you're taking a look at these, you're going to like these things. Look at this. I'm also working hard with the new camera, and I think my focus has been doing good in serving me lately. Beautiful point. When I find one of these or see them, I think when it comes to Richard's Rock House, I was mentioning it. When he finds a nice Etley or a nice Sedalia, I just look at it and shake my head like, my gosh. Now his points are much bigger. These are as big as they get around here. I found some biggers, but they're really rare. Now these Guilfords have come along fairly consistently. Look at this, will you? You can tell where it's relieved right off the back on purpose, so they could half that right in. Look at that. Unbelievable, right? Anyway, as I was saying, my comment today on the politics is, here's the question for you. Do you know what's been going on in Syria? Do you know? Do you think it matters to us here, politically, in terms of our freedom and our relationship with other nations? It does matter. I'm just going to put it down. I'm going to put a link here. I want you to hear, if you haven't already, the interview, almost a half an hour, it could be a little shorter, of an embedded reporter from Canada. She's from Canada. She's impartial. She's not, at all in terms of looking to support or promote any political candidate in the United States of America, not Trump or anything. She is real, the real deal. She went to Syria recently, in Aleppo, and was embedded. Risked her life. Look at this point. To get the facts of what was happening there, it'll blow your mind. This news, I don't care who you choose, ABC, NBC, CBS, CNBC, it doesn't matter. They have been lying. They have been paid to, so don't be too hard on them. They have been coerced and blackmailed to But the real story is heartbreaking. This world has cruel people. And when it comes to terrorists or people that are going to be cruel to make you believe like they're going to believe, listen, you can join me. We're not going to have it. You can forget that. A free and creative people, we're going to put a stop on that. We're going to put the kibosh on it. You can forget that. So hear this report from her. Listen to her. Watch her. Look at her heart when she shares her report about Syria and what's been going on. I mean, it's a new report. It's probably came out maybe 4 days ago or last week. Found this at Saponi. Just love that point. It's an elegant point. And worth seeing. I mean, absolutely worth seeing. She is worth hearing. I mean, just a beautiful heart. She's crazy though. I mean, she went into the lion's den to find out what was really happening over there, and she'll tell you the story. I'll put the link up for you. Guilford Yuma here, as we get finished up. Oh my word. This is a sweet point. Again, Saponi Point. Saponi hasn't been ready in a long time. They went through, I think, some cotton and some beans, so it takes a long time with those two crops. The relief on the back of this point. Absolutely stellar. So if you don't love Guilford's yet, and that's a Guilford Yuma, we're looking at probably 8,000, 9,000 BC, according, of course, to Overstreet and some other archaeologists that have an opinion on it. Might not be perfectly right. We all have too much to learn. Too much to learn. Keep that in mind. Nice point, though. And then you got to draw up and make your own decision about what you truly believe in and stick with it. Hey, have some convictions, no big deal. And then be humble enough to accept other people. That's the way to live, right? This is a nice point, came from Notchville. One of the earliest, maybe about 4 years ago, Guilford's I found. I mean, I was flipping out. It was a great day. Of course, I could never expect. This is nice blue rhyolite here, blue-green. It was dark army green when they made it. You can see right here. That's its true color right there. It's not patinaed yet. I don't know if I have another piece that I can show you just a little bit of a nick of the true color of it. It's a beautiful stone, though. Beautiful point, huh? The Guilford. Mercy. That's a Guilford round base. And the last one, which is absolutely stellar one, and my time's moving right along. And remember, I did make that shout out. I wanted you to answer for yourself. Do you? Well, you might not care. If you don't care, that's all right. But do you know what is actually really going on? Who the players, what the world is going on in Syria? It's important. I'm going to tell you, it's important to our lives, to our nation, to how we must live and coexist together in this world. I double dog dare you to listen to this touching reporter from Canada who was over there. It just blew my mind to listen to her. And you're going to listen to her. When you listen to her, you're going to be like, she's the real deal. And she was there. And so what she's saying, I need to take it to heart. Look at this man. This came from the Archaic. The Archaic in Saponi really put out some incredible stuff. To tell you, I can't even get this all in the frame of the camera. That's an incredible point, isn't it? It's been seen before, but worth seeing again. Okay, long enough. All my shout-outs done. Of course, Richard's Rock House and political interest question of the day. Do you really know what's been happening in Syria? Oh, those poor families and people, and disgusting terrorism, disgusting ISIS. We're gonna crush them. Forget them. They're done. We've got strength that is coming back, I believe, to the leadership of this country. And we have great allies who want to crush it as well in Russia. So that might offend some of you, but it's the truth nevertheless. Anyway, there's some great points for you. Really appreciate you tuning in to Indian Trace. I don't even know how to finish this. A little bit different than we started, maybe. Find a point or two or three. I'll take these two. Thanks for tuning in to Indian Trace, and be well out there. Hope you find.